Yo, this is a sign for you to take back control of your life like it owns you, Rent. And to do that, you first must realize that you are the one living your life. And what that practically means is that you must stop giving away this remote control of your life to others. And I brought this remote control just to demonstrate this, because we do this unconsciously. We give away the remote of our life to others out of habit and conditioning. And this makes us feel like we're just a feather in the wind. We start to blame our teachers for our bad grades. We blame our government for the unemployment. We even blame our genetics for our lack of muscle. It makes us feel like we're not in control. Others are in control of our destiny, whether we like it or not. And it sucks. When you are young and ambitious, this is really important to realize. So if you're taking this matter seriously, I'm going to take you to the deeper section of this video where I'll show you all the actionable steps that you can implement today. So let's get into it. Yo, how to take back control of your life like it owes you rent. This is for all those who feel like they need to act and stop getting acted upon. I'm sure like at least sometime in our life we all face this, and if you're watching this so far, then I'm sure you're at some point of your life right now where you feel kind of like you're getting acted upon. And let me tell you, the solution is not some habits that I'm gonna tell you. This video is not gonna be some habits that I'm gonna share to you, meditation, reading books or journaling that is gonna help you take back control of your life. Because before you even do those good habits, I mean, those good habits are good. They supplement your self-improvement, your purpose on whatever you're doing. But before you even do that, first you must realize, like I've said at the start of the video, that you are the one living your life. You must take the responsibility for yourself. And no, this video is not about responsibility either. You're gonna learn a lot in this, and I've prepared this presentation especially for this subject and this matter so that you can take back control of your life, okay, like it owes you rent. I'm repeating this on and on. Okay, let's get into it. First, we're gonna discuss the language of blame. Language, L-O-B, language of blame. This is L, by the way, let me just write it. Language of blame, the first point, right? The second point is the 3D. The third point is the 3C. And the last one is the DVD. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting. Let me break down to you one by one. Language of blame. You see, in most of our life, we may not have realized this so far if we are stuck at this same problem of being acted upon because we face this and we do this ourselves. We use the language of blame, of blaming others. Okay, like so and so is responsible for my problem. That's the basic framework. You blame the stock market for the lack of finances, or like stock market crashing down, so you're blaming it, the government, you're blaming the government, or you're blaming your teacher, you're blaming your friends for something that you should be responsible for. Someone is responsible for your mistakes. That's what you think. So language of blame, that is the basic idea of it. And you can hear this like, what are some silly examples? Because this language of blame can go to an extent where it's very silly. Like, for example, guys, blaming or talking shit about the OnlyFans models. Okay, for example, they're just talking about these OnlyFans models are all rich, but they are just these blah 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 guys yapping about and complaining about OnlyFans model, not taking responsibility that, yeah, like these OnlyFans models make money from guys jerking off their dick and spending like $9 just to see those girls naked. So we can't really blame the OnlyFans girls, but that is the common notion you'd observe with these people who would like use the language of blame. They tend to move towards like other people. They blame the other people, okay, even if like it has nothing to do with their lives. So this is the notion of language of blame, and that is one thing. Now the 3D, okay, because determinism is what I'm talking about here. The 3D. There are three things that people think that controls their life. The first one is genetic determinism. The G. The second is the psychic determinism, the P, and the third one is the environmental determinism. So genetic determinism is like, oh, you don't have a lot of muscle because it's because of your genetic. You're short-tempered because of your genetics. Now, of course, a lot of things like height or even like the hunter eyes, people call it, bro. Yeah, at some way or the other, it's like you are influenced by genetic, and this is why determinism come here. And psychic determinism is where you think that your upbringing has caused you to be the way you are. You are, you seek for love in a relationship more desperately because you've never gotten love when you were brought up as a child from your parents. You blame your parents, you blame your upbringing, the people you grew up with at school oftentimes. And the third one is environmental determinism. It's where you blame the people around you for your consequence of your life. You may not be in the best position in your life, but you blame the outside people instead of your own. And this 3D is really, really important for you to understand. I really wished I knew this, because genetic determines you, but you can still change it. Like psychic determines your personality, but you can still change some of your personality. Yeah, environment kind of like determines you, your consequences, but you can still change it, right? These are nothing but what I call COPE. Okay, COPE, COPE. Just some excuses people use to justify their consequence. That's what people have to do when they use the language of blame. They put the blame on others and they do everything to justify their consequence, that it is not their responsibility. And you would see that. Now, okay, if this is not the case, then what do you focus on then? You focus on what you can control. Okay, what you can control in your life. There are some things that you can control. There's some things you cannot no control. And for this matter, I'm gonna break down control into three control levels. Okay, this is what the 3C stands for. 3 control. The first type of control is the self-control. This is very interesting here. Self-control. The second one is the social control. Social control. Now the third one is the, guess what? Surrender control. It's where you have no control at all. Surrender control. So self-control is like you working on yourself. This is the epitome of self-improvement, working on what we can change. Okay, so what determines us is our genetics. Genetics says that you don't build muscle that fast, like some extreme bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman. This is where you see and realize that you are not like Arnold Schwarzenegger, because you don't have the genes. So you are hit with this reality, harsh reality, and you need to accept that, damn, genetic really determine it, but there are some levels I can control. I cannot control the genetics or the insertion of my chest muscles, but I can control how much strength I build in my chest muscle, how much big I build through hypertrophy training and years of training. This is where self-improvement comes in. You may not be born with the greatest, most discerning, diligent mind, but you can improve your mind also by meditation, by exercise. This is where all those good habits comes in, because you realize, yeah, I am born with what I am. I may not be that tall, but I can be thick. Shit like that. Okay, you may not be born with hunter eyes, but you can make the best use of almond eyes. People obsess over the type of eyes they have, especially in the looks maxing niche, but that's what it is. Your face shape, you cannot change your face structure. It may be diamond heart whatsoever, it may be fucking oval, excuse me, but you can change the hairstyle, the way you present yourself in order to fit for your head shape that you genetically got. Okay, too much about self-control. I've explained already, you know about it. Now social control is more interesting here. Use your brain when you're talking about social control, because now we shift from yourself to others. Now you cannot control what others do, you cannot control how others feel about you, but sure, you can influence the way they feel about you, right? For example, your friends, they may not be into working out, and you cannot control whether they work out or not today or tomorrow, but you can control in a way that you influence them. This is the key word, the buzzword, influence. Oh my god. Influence them. You get the gist. You can influence them to make that action, even though you cannot control them to make the action. You see, you can influence them, but you cannot directly control them. It's more like indirect control, social control. Like the third control is surrender control. It's where you, with a big smile, surrender your control. Realize that it's just the way it is. It is raining outside, it's dark outside. I cannot control the sun to rise from the west and set in the east, but I sure can control when I can wake up and face the sun at the east, just so I could get some sunlight in my eye and keep the circadian rhythm going. You know what I'm saying? So these are some things that you must accept. Your genetics, the environment, your weather, you know, the stock market, some things you cannot control, inevitable things. That now, yeah, we really don't want to focus on. Oh, fuck it. I thought we really don't want to focus on this or this or this, but everything is equally important. So, yeah, keep in mind self-control, social control, surrender control. We're already 10 minutes into this video here, and I want to talk about DVD because you really need to now, as you are here 10 minutes into this video, decide where you stand. So, DVD. First one is the Drifter, okay? Drifter. And I don't mean Fast and Furious drift, that kind of type of drift, no, versus the driver, okay? And I don't mean the driver as in type of driver, you know, not the car type of drifter or driver, but listen, okay? Drifter is the type of person who just go about life. Basically he's pathetic. Basically he's pathetic. What do I mean? Drifter is the one who's like, he got a bad genetic of small arms, suppose, and he just lets that stop him. Okay, he is born with a genetic in a situation where he can't focus on study, but he lets that tendency, that weakness, determine his character, his future. This guy just gives everything up because, like, what's the point, right? He's not born with it. He expects everything to be like perfect. He expects to be born perfect. So when things are not perfect, he's just like surrendering. He's just letting life drift him away. That's not what we want. Now the driver is more like, ooh, dang. The driver is like, even if I have a bad genetic, I'm gonna train anyways. Even if I'm not born with the perfect mindset to study, I'm gonna study and work hard anyway. Shout out to David Goggins, who have like struggled with studying but forced himself to study on and on again, and he got like better at it. So it's where you promote growth mindset instead of this limiting mindset where you are just born the way you are and you cannot do anything about it. The driver does something about it. So shout out to all the drivers out here. If that's one of you, then let's go. Last time we had 1,188, now we have 1,189. One subscriber increase since last video, and the subscriber goal for this month, July 2025, is 1,500, and we have this much men so far. Okay, we need more. These are some highlights, you know, from my Discord community, the guys on self-improvement, and we really want you to join the movement by subscribing. That's the only way you can join the movement, by subscribing, because we're helping young men become the leaders of their life. We're building leaders, not just some A+ student. Okay, let's go to your actionable steps after all that we have discussed. So number one is to listen to your language of blame. Throughout your day, you listen to your language of blame. You cannot control it, first of all. Like when you are building this habit from the past of like blaming others, you can't suddenly like change your language all of a sudden. You must observe it. Oh shit, I just caught myself blaming her. I just caught myself blaming him. And then you realize that first, and then you start to make a change. Shit, damn. And how do you make a change? Then point number two is, become clear of when you are most likely. Okay, when are you most likely? When you are most likely to use the language of blame. Now, it may be when you are with your friends, when it's in the morning and you have just woken up, or it's at night when you're all tired and you don't know what you are saying, right? It's weird, but you just gotta be aware of when you are most likely to use this language of blame and work on it. You know, prepare yourself, visualize yourself, whatever you want to do to stop using the language of blame. That's what you want to do, right? Stop using the language of blame and use the language of action and hope and will, and, you know, where there is a will, there is a way type vibe. I can't tell you exactly. It's It's a lot to cover up, but basically have it in your heart that you must stop blaming and do it, right? So what are your everyday problems? That goes to point number 3. What are your everyday problems at the 3 levels of control? Like I've said, the 3 levels of control: self-control, social control, and then we have surrender control. What are the problems that you're facing right now? Whatever problem it is, maybe your your friends are toxic or whatever, your dog is barking too much at night and you cannot sleep, your teacher is not teaching properly at school, you are sucking in your study, you are going into your bad habits every single day, maybe jerking off too much or playing video games too much, watching TV too much, or you're not working on your business, or like you're not even studying, whatever it is, list out the problem, and I'm sure you can categorize either in self-control, which is like your bad habits, your problems of bad habits, and your tendency to not study as much, all of that procrastination. And social control could be like your your teacher. You cannot control your teacher from getting better in his teaching, but you can inspire him, you can influence him, right? You can maybe ask him more questions so that he gets more engaged, so that he also knows that, yeah, my students actually give a fuck about my teaching, so I am gonna teach them more better, as opposed to previously where nobody asked him any questions, so he didn't even give a fuck about teaching, so you thought that his teaching sucked, you got bad grades, you blamed him. But it's actually like you can influence him by asking him questions. Like, there's a lot of ways, right? Social control done, self-control done, whatever it is. And then surrender control could be like your dog barking at night, or your neighbor's dog barking at night, and you cannot sleep. You just don't give a fuck, just work on what you can control. Just close the window. You cannot control the dog from stopping to bark, he cannot even hear you from afar. And if you scold that dog, it's only gonna bark louder, so you just rather close your windows, just go to bed, right? That's what you can do. So at the end of the day, you want to work on these areas of influence, whatever you can work on after you've listed out the problems, and then after you've categorized them into these 3 levels of control, work on the areas of influence, what you can do to this. And with that said, improve your life one step at a time, always.